Hello, what's going on, everyone? It's Sam. Before we begin, everybody go ahead and get your Chris Tyson comments out of the way. All right, did you get your fill? Welcome back. So let's go ahead and begin by discussing something that's really been on my mind lately, especially recently, in the fact that the U.S. economy kind of sucks. And by it sucks, I mean it sucks balls. It's pretty bad, to the point where I can't get a job. And I found myself jobless a few months ago, 3 to be exact, when I lost my job at a telehealth startup company. And it was a dream job, and the company folded because of I believe it was funding, private investors. You know how that stuff goes. But it was a healthcare company, an startup, and so it was great. It was a great job, but dreams do come to an end, and so I was left stumbling through the job market. I would even call it that. I'd call it the job barren wasteland that is America right now. And it's been pretty rough. It's been very rough. And don't get me wrong, I don't go to interviews looking like this because I know that's a for sure far way not to get a job. So, I just wear makeup on my YouTube channel or on my socials or at home, or partying. So I found myself in a situation where I don't have a job. I can't find a job. And I am left figuring out how to make ends meet on my own, right? And that comes through with, maybe starting a service, which I have, finding clients, or, finding my own way. Because I've applied for anything and everything. And I just, gas stations. That's the real kicker, is when you work in healthcare for years and you find yourself jobless, and then all of a sudden you can't get a job. It's crazy. It's like, wow, I thought the healthcare field would save me from this, hell, but it did not. And so amidst this jobless storm, I have found myself, tuning more into the job hunting forums, I guess you could say, and, listening to people that are having similar issues, right? And people that are not, right? It's you tend to pay more attention to the world when, you're kind of close to being on the streets, jobless. And I've noticed an interesting trend. People seem to be very helpless and hopeless right now. That seems to be the way that the world is shaping up to be right now, is this helpless, hopeless place where we're waiting on someone to come and save us, and nobody's fixing the economy. No, the economy is getting worse, and we don't know what to do, right? It's a very interesting phenomenon. And so I've had 3 months to really reflect on myself. And during those 3 months, I have really come to an interesting conclusion, right? And that is the fact that we're not as helpless as we make ourselves out to be, and it's not as hopeless as you would think. And I know this is coming from an unemployed person, but you got to realize that people are waiting for a savior, and we're not going to get a savior, right? And this especially comes in terms of like the economy, right? Where I hear people all the time saying, when will the economy get better? When will this get better, right? But what I think that most people don't realize is that we play a massive part in the economy. As a matter of fact, we are the economy, right? We, the American people, are the economy. And to solidify that fact, I'm going to let you know that 68% of America's GDP is built on consumerism, which means that all of America's economy is essentially us, right? And so, in a way, we've kind of purchased what's going on right now. We've bought it, right? We bought into this. And I'll tell you why. We have invested in companies and businesses and people that are not invested in us. Have you ever thought about that? Like, why do we invest in companies that have no interest in us? Their only interests in their core values are to maximize profits and save money. It's really weird. I've noticed this. It's like, yeah, we know how this goes. AI this and replacement that, and we're going to lose our jobs and this and that. And a lot of that is sensationalism. Like, I truly don't think AI is going to be that crazy. And it's definitely not going to be the death of creativity or nor creative jobs, because the human touch is always, not in the weird way, but the human touch is what everyone craves, right? It's a basic human necessity. And so we require that human to human interaction or human touch or whatever you want to call it at the end of the day, right? And so that's not going to go away. But what else will not go away is the fact that, or the risk that companies are going to let you go when it comes to this, AI thing. If they can find a way to save a buck, if they can find a way to thin the herd, they're going to do so. And it always shocks me how some people, not all, I know a lot of you watching pretty much know how this was going to go from the get-go, but it shocks me how a lot of people were just shocked. It's like, why? Why is this happening? Well, because you're investing in them. And whether you like it or not, whenever you spend money with a person or a business, you're investing in them. I mean, it's common sense. You're investing in them. And so when I see people talk about how they don't like a certain billionaire or a certain set of billionaires or a certain multi-billion-dollar company, and then they order from that website, then the hypocrisy. It's like, you really can't let go of your 2-day shipping? Not saying any names because I don't want to get sued, but you really can't let go of that service that makes your life a little bit more convenient. And I think the true villain here is convenience. Call me crazy, but it's like people are willing to sell their souls for convenience. It's like pulling a pacifier from a child's mouth. When you say, "Hey, let's let go of this really convenient service." Sure, it may be great for a short run, but what's going to happen when they replace 90% of their workforce, which is a plan? Like, you can't argue that. Do you think that if there was a way for them to replace all of their human workforce that's affordable, right? That fits within their bottom line, do you think that they would not do that? They would do it in a heartbeat. Like, there would be no question, right? And so that's my question to all of you watching. Why are you investing in these companies? Why are you buying their products, right? And I'm not going to act like I'm the saint of all this, because I've ordered from these websites as well, right? I'm just as guilty. But through this time where I've had to cut everything out that's not necessity because, I am jobless, I realized, man, I really don't need any of this crap. I don't, right? And I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is like, how many empires will crumble when we just withhold our dollar or we relocate those dollars, right? When you imagine if 60 to 80% of the people just canceled their services, and most people would say, well, that's going to cause a depression. That's going to cause everyone to lose their jobs. It's going to cause all this crazy stuff to happen. But it might be good, right? And it sounds crazy. It's like, why would you want to topple the economy? But we might need it, because this economy is not built for us. And I found that out the hard way, because you can't get a job right now, right? And AI is happening, and a lot of creative, excellent people are losing their jobs, right? Do I think that's going to stick? I really don't think that's going to stick, right? But there is a possibility that it may, right? And who is the one that facilitates that? Us, with our money. We're the ones that buy into this crap, right? And we just sit there with a surprised Pikachu face when the companies actually go through with it, and they pull the trigger and they let go of people, and people are like, dang, I'm without a job now because this company just let me go without any warning or anything. Yeah, because they don't give a fuck about you. You were a stepping stone in their path to making as much money as they possibly could. And the moment that you become a stone that sticks up and they're like, man, we can get rid of that stone and make it quicker, they're going to let you go. It's the reality of things. That's like, it's crazy to me. And so I think that the biggest thing is, I'm not here to point fingers. If it seems like I'm like, oh, you're doing wrong, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I really think that if humanity comes together, we start supporting small businesses, yes, it will be a little more expensive, right? It'll be a little more expensive to buy something from a small business, and I know a lot of you are struggling, right? But in the long run, look at it as an investment, right? You're investing in small businesses. You're investing in people that actually, you're putting your money in people's mouths. Like those people that own the small businesses are families that need to be fed, right? And rather than putting it in some big corpo fucking Wells gullet, like put it in a small family, invest it in a small family, or invest it in yourself by not spending the money and putting the money away in case something like this happens, like to you, right? Like my situation where, you get let go and now you're in a job market that's not really a market. It's a barren wasteland, And so that's my little spill for the day. I truly believe that you can do it. I truly believe that humans have the capability to let go of useless shit and services that don't pay anything forward to humanity other than, supporting or buying resources from dirty resources, as people would call it, right? From slave labor and screwing over people and letting people go. And, it's ridiculous. It needs to end, and we are the only ones that can make it end. We are the ones, because guess what? Without our money, those places are cooked. Think about any brand that you know. If people stop spending money there, what's going to happen? It's elementary. So why not just do it? Why not just stop buying things from there?
Am I too familiar with the pain? You say you understand, but you can't relate.